Good afternoon out there. You are welcome to the Polity, reaching you live from the Abuja studio of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, popularly known as Kaftan Television, where we all imagine a beautiful world because we're here and we are beautiful people. The Polity is a program that goes below the headline of unfolding political events within Nigeria and even beyond the shores of the country. What we do here is to bring guests that are knowledgeable, that have traction on all unfolding political events, particularly topical, trending, national and international issues, where they help us break them down for the benefit of the viewing public. We also open our telephone lines for our numerous viewers within Nigeria and even outside the country to call in so that the program can be interactive, engaging, incisive, as well as conversational. My name has not changed. It's still Macauley Hunohashi, your regular anchor, welcoming all our esteemed viewers from around the world for joining us this auspicious afternoon on the Polity. So much is happening within the political space. We've heard three major words that have become part of the political lexicon of Nigeria. Whenever you open your newspaper or you to your television set or radio, and even if you meet cluster of Nigerians discussing politics, it's either they're talking about coalition, or they're talking about defection, or they are talking about endorsement. It's been gale of defections, gale of endorsements, and coalition talks and ongoing. And all the political parties are engaging, and there are realignments moving forward to 2027 general election. There are so many people who believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has become a behemoth, as well as a political principality and power that will be difficult for anyone to dislodge. And there is also a school of thought who are proponents of the coalition that believe that, yes, if all the political heavyweights that are coming together through an amalgamation to form a rainbow coalition, that if they jettison their personal and selfish ambition and do the right thing by selecting someone that can square it up with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027, there could be some upsets. And well, today, Ecowas, the regional organization comprising 15 countries that was formed in 1997, is 50 years of age, is 50 years old. And a human being that is 50 years old can be said to have attained half a century in his lifetime. And well, we're going to be taking a look at the gains, the challenges, as well as the way forward for the regional body economic of West African states. And then if time permits us, we're going to dovetail into taking a look or a peep into the journey so far as the current administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu clocks exactly 2 years in office, because tomorrow, Thursday, 29th day of May 2025, the administration is going to be 2 years in office exactly, having taken off out of office. Mr. President took off out of office precisely on that same day in 2023, 29th of May. Two gentlemen that will help us break down these two conversations are already seated in the studio with me, and they are regular faces on this platform. We wanted to have an interchange of other two guests that will be joining us in the course of the show, so that we can have variety of thoughts, but it will not be going to happen that way because of the exigencies of the call of duty. Some of them were not able to turn in, but this program will not stop. It has to continue because it was created by Kaftan TV to avail Nigerians the opportunity of having a platform where they can verbalize their thoughts with regards to programs, projects, and policies of government being fashioned out and crafted for the betterment and well-being of all Nigerians. On my far right is no other person than Segun Ojelade. Segun, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Macauley, for having me.
Segun is a seasoned broadcaster and in-house analyst of Kaftan TV, as well as senior producer and editor. We don't take your presence for granted.
Thank you.
Out of your busy schedule, you've always found time, to patriotically sit, on this hot seat, so that you can verbalize your thoughts and ventilate what Nigerians feel about topical issues that concerns them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
On my right, also in blue, it seems as though today is a blue day, and he is no other person than a clergy of repute, and is SamPraise. Pastor SamPraise, you are welcome to the Polity.
Thank you, Macauley, and wonderful audience out there. God bless you.
SamPraise is a political analyst, is a media personality. He's a botanist by choice because he has a garden in Abuja. I'm not going to mention the location. That will be amount to advertisement. SamPraise, except you are ready to pay for it. You're going to advertise your garden. That's right? Shego?
My Shego will pay.
No, except he's ready to throw some of the juice in the garden.
He sells flowers. Call me if you want to buy flowers so that we can talk. Well,
that's cool.
That's on a lighter note to set the tone for the conversation this afternoon. Segun, 50 years of a journey is no joke. There are impediments, right?
No.
And those impediments are not insurmountable.
Yes.
How far would you assess the journey so far of the economic community of West Africa state in the last 50 years, having been formed in is it June 1975? So give me, a brief assessment by way of laying a foundation for this conversation.
Yeah, I think ECOWAS has indeed come a long way. ECOWAS has been a very good rallying point for West African countries to come together because of our shared destiny in the interest of our people and the region. There is always need for regional cooperation and integration in a globalized world, in a world where it has been discovered that no one nation can shoulder the responsibilities of development. So nations come together to support one another, especially those that have common ethnic, religious, common aspirations for development. And exactly that is what ECOWAS is meant for, and that is what ECOWAS has been doing in the past 50 years. There are remarkable things that ECOWAS has been able to do that were not for ECOWAS.
Okay, I want us to go right straight into the remarkable achievements that you did mention before we now go into challenges and way forward.
We all remember the volatility of the past 20 years in the West African sub-region, where we have very serious cases in Liberia, for instance. Were it not for ECOWAS, Liberia will have gone under ECOMOG. That is the fighting force that was deployed by ECOWAS. We can't forget that Nigeria played a very, very pivotal role in the formation and the operations of ECOMOG. ECOMOG went into Liberia when the war was at its hottest, where Samedo was ravaging, and then ECOMOG came in, and then where you have bandits taking over major parts of the country, killing, maiming, raping of women. It was ECOWAS that deployed ECOMOG with notable Nigerian generals and very committed officers and men of the Nigerian armed forces, joined with Sierra Leone and the rest of them, went into ECOMOG, risked their lives, and stabilized ECOWAS, and stabilized Liberia. Today, Liberia is one of the prides.
Liberia, just
Liberia.
like its name is liberated.
Yes, yes. Liberia is one of the prides of Africa today, because their democracy is moving on, is now taking shape. Don't also forget the ETE. That is let's talk about the integration. For very many, in fact, that is one of the reasons why ECOWAS was formed, to ensure integration of the people of the sub-region. They toyed with a common currency. I remember when I was still on the field as a field journalist, we did a lot of work on ECOWAS integration protocol. It was designed in such a way that the people of Africa will be able to see themselves as who they are, brothers and sisters who are able to work together, who are able to trade together, who are able to share common ideas about development. Today, the protocol on free movement was designed so that anybody from the West African countries can move into another country, stay there without visa, without anything. You come around, you stay. Yes, you stay for 3 months without any inhibition at all. If you go to any of the borders today, West African nationals are moving about freely and are trading. A good example is Benin Republic there, very close to the Cotonou, for instance. Nigerian traders go in, come out, and we do not have that barrier and bottleneck of compatibility of our currencies. So trade is facilitated. You say we should not talk about problems now. Otherwise, I will have talked about the problem of there are problems with the trade.
Of course,
there are even problems with the idea of having a common currency. I think we'll get there.
Okay, well, let me come to SamPraise. He has mentioned some of the strides, the giant strides made by ECOWAS, even though those strides have been hindered by governance challenges. But before we talk about challenges, are there other successes you would like to remember and add as we lay the foundation for this conversation?
Well, very visibly, the conception of ECOWAS ab initio is to unite the West African states and have economic synergy, community recognition, and security challenges being reduced, and like he mentioned, the liberation of Liberia from war, especially with the help of people like OBJ, when he was actively playing the fatherhood role of the giant of especially the sub-region called West Africa, and then I would have thought we are looking forward to more neighborliness, more brotherly help, and like he said, we saw all those formation, of which, if to say it was continued, by now, even this insecurity we are tackling in Nigeria wouldn't have been there, because most of these migrants coming in from most of these neighboring countries wouldn't have had such a free flow of capturing some regions in Cameroon, major part of Nigeria, and even Niger, Axis, and what have you. So maybe when we start talking about the challenges, but the concept, the formation of it, the integration of this nomenclature was with a good vision, good intention, good and great prospect, which would have been a big plus for the sub-region.
Well, Segun, let me come to you. In exploring ECOWAS' successes as well as challenges, let's interrogate ECOWAS' relationship with other international organizations and even continental organizations such as the United Nations, the AU, African Union, as well as the European Union. In what way would you say ECOWAS has maximized its potential, to synergize with these international organizations for the benefit of the sub-region, or lack of it?
No, ECOWAS has been is recognized. ECOWAS is recognized in the Committee of Nations as the umbrella body of nations of West Africa. ECOWAS is a partner with the UN, with the AU, which is our own here in Africa, with various organizations, international organizations, who see ECOWAS as an amalgam, as a body under which countries of the West African sub-region are members.
Beg your pardon.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Yeah. They see ECOWAS as a partner. They see ECOWAS as the channel through which these nations can be reached. And they are some of the assistance that are needed by some of these countries. I mean, when the UN, for instance, wants to talk to West African nations, ECOWAS is taken into very serious consideration, and some of the assistance to challenges, some of the assistance given for some of the challenges West Africa has faced, some of them come through ECOWAS. Like there are a number of trainings for various strata of governance at ECOWAS level. There are partnership and assistance agreement protocols with ECOWAS, especially in the area that we mentioned, peacekeeping, for instance. So ECOWAS is a link, a vital link to these West African nations. ECOWAS is a very strong body. ECOWAS is a very notable and a very strong voice for West African people that has continued to champion the cause of West African countries and her people, especially in the areas of trade liberalization, peacekeeping, in the areas of political development. ECOWAS has played a very big role in ensuring democracy takes root in West African countries. We've been part of election monitoring and observations in many of the 16 West African nations under ECOWAS. And I know that it is a robust engagement that ECOWAS has with the various countries, even assisting them in the development of their political system, in their electioneering, and so many other areas that have assisted in ensuring that politics, politicking, and elections, democracy take root in this nation. So ECOWAS is a very strong force. If ECOWAS monitors an election and they write their reports on such elections, some of which, to the glory of God, we have been part of, that election report is respected far more than others in the international community, because ECOWAS has a very strong base in all these nations. And then when ECOWAS is deploying for election, it's like going for peacekeeping. It's always a very, very good engagement.
I've listened to so many discerning minds and analysts who say, in spite of these laudable achievements you enumerated, there are still persistent challenges, and because all the efforts of the ECOWAS leadership over the years are being hindered by so many factors. One of them is governance challenges, insecurity, regional insecurity.
The biggest is funding.
Is funding.
Biggest
and the biggest funder of ECOWAS has been Nigeria.
It has been Nigeria. Today, ECOWAS' biggest problem, I can say, is finance. Remove Nigeria from ECOWAS, the body will not survive. To stand for long. That's why the ECOWAS Secretariat is based in Nigeria.
In Lagos.
No,
Abuja. In Abuja, yeah.
Sorry, in
Abuja. In
Asokoro, yes.
Yeah.
So Nigeria is committing huge resources to ECOWAS. Yeah. And that is why the international community respects Nigeria for the role Nigeria is playing to ensure the stability of ECOWAS. Many of the countries of ECOWAS, and indeed even in the AU, many of the countries have not been forthcoming in terms of paying. They are in arrears.
Now, Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has left Abuja, the seat of government, to Lagos, where there's going to be a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the existence of ECOWAS. And one of the focal points at that conference is the renewed renewed vision for a borderless region because all the member countries are contiguous to each other.
Yes.
So there's a renewed vision of achieving a borderless region by 2050. I hope some are being skeptical that it may go along the line of the ECO. Do you agree with that? How would you assess that?
Yes, maybe from my friend's point of analysis, talking about the dividends of ECOWAS, we shouldn't forget to mention that one of our successes as a region is that we were able to produce the then United Nations Secretary General in the person of Kofi Annan from the region. So we have, you were asking how is the international relationship with ECOWAS, EU, and
Kofi Annan and Emeka.
So we have antecedents of having figures from the sub-region who are power brokers.
And they are global players.
Yes.
I quite agree with you on that.
International community. So now, based on the anniversary being celebrated, of course, a child of 50 is no longer a child. Yeah. That is the age of we call it midlife.
It's a grandfather.
Yes, ECOWAS at midlife need to reappraise, rehearse, and regurgitate their visions and their pros and cons. So if they are talking about borderless activity within the sub-region, it would have been good, owing the fact that there is what we call a very, very volatile security system right now in the region. Okay, look at Burkina Faso and Co. All these things, we are no longer in agreement like before. That's number one. And since a minimum of 15 years now, it has been this kidnapping stuff, and it's not just Nigeria, in as much as it's endemic in Nigeria, but I think the whole region is faced with this epidemic of this kidnapping, killing, communal clashes, and what have you. So if they are going to appraise themselves, like you said, somebody at 50, you should be able to look back from your, cradle and say, from age 10 to 20, what did I achieve? From 20 to 30, 40 now that I'm 50, and what is my prospect? Haven't done one or two things. Where are my areas of failures? So that if we are going into borderless consideration, we should be able to agree that security-wise, we are not yet there to venture into such risk, security-wise. So if we have a synergy of understanding that, look, I am your brother from this country, I'm your neighbor, we understand on that with what we call ECOWAS pass that has been in existence. To me, that is enough. Let every country within the suburb protect their integrity, integrity, and then like before, unlike before. Well, like when Liberia was having all those problems. But where are the ECOMOG forces considering the Nigerian insecurity that is now at the epic? That's my small question inside this. You know, when Nigeria was leading that ECOMOG, we fought gallantly. You know, even the days of when Nelson Mandela was incarcerated, Nigeria played a big role in bringing about the restoration of South Africa to independence and what have you. So as we speak, Nigeria is in crisis. In case we don't know, Nigeria is in war. So what are we doing about the brotherliness and the security system strategies in the sub-region?
Okay, Segun, one of the aims that would have been a huge success story for ECOWAS is the establishment of free movement by all member nations across the region, without unhindered. But we're talking about insecurity, general insecurity, and so many countries' borders are porous, Nigeria inclusive. We have over 1,000 porous borders where unwanted people come in with all sorts of things, and these are routes for smugglers, for smuggling of arms and banned items. How would that, be, regarded as a success story if you just allow borders of member nations? Everybody can just cross to any country at any time he or she wishes.
Well, that protocol on free movement is kind of aping the EU, for instance. EU has moved very, very far progressively in this area of free trade and free movement of persons, especially of people of EU, European Union origin. That is what we try to do around here. But the major problem that ECOWAS has is in the constitution of its members. When I mean constitution, I don't mean the law. I mean in the people and the governments of the region, the economy of the region, and the political instability in many of the countries. Let's talk economy. Many of the countries of ECOWAS, their economies are in shambles. Which of them do you want to talk about? Even Liberia, even the Gambia, talk about Sierra Leone, Ghana is maybe slightly picking up. How about even Nigeria itself? So, but when all these problems happen in the other ECOWAS member states, their nationals, if they cannot go to Europe, they are coming to Nigeria, especially those of them that don't have enough money to jackpot to Europe or to the Americans. They see Nigeria as their own America that is close by, that they can just walk across. And that has serious implications on Nigeria. Many of the challenges that we have at the border today are as a result of the unrestricted movement of persons in the Nigerian border area. You talk of borderless region. Nigeria is already borderless.
That's right. That's right.
Without even adhering to the protocol.
Yes. You go to a place like Benin Republic that that I'm familiar with. Go to Ipokia region, go to Owode, go to Idiroko. You walk across. The only thing you are likely to see that shows you that this is a border are the pillars.
You just stroll across. You
stroll across.
And you are in another country.
In fact, there are houses in that we have their front in Nigeria and their back will be in Benin Republic. But you're not going to that kind of house. You will see bags of imported, smuggled rice, contraband items. You see them there. So the Nigeria must, before you open our borders further for entry by other West African nations, you must strengthen your borders to ensure that only good people The intention is very good.
Yes.
To have a borderless is good because it facilitates trade. There are so many products in those countries that Nigeria needs, and there are so many of our businessmen and women, farmers and all, that have products that they need in many of those countries. So it is very good for good people to go to and fro the borders. But as you are opening your borders for the good, do not forget that the bad and the ugly will also try to come in. Nigeria has not been able to control the influx of the bad and the ugly.
Okay.
So that should be very, very critical in Nigeria working together with other West African countries. Okay. Now the Ecowas has really helped in the area of trade. Ecowas is a very good platform for Nigeria and indeed other West African countries to interact and trade together. The authorities, they have very good figures about international trade among West African countries. They are doing well, but ECOWAS has opened our country, Nigeria for instance, to incursions, especially by dissidents, by militants running away from their countries. And also, do not forget the devastating effects of smuggling. The truth is, 85 to 90% of goods landing in Benin Republic ports are meant for Nigeria. And yes, the custom is making some money when they try to bring those goods in, but huge amount of them still find their way through the borders unchecked, unrestricted, including firearms and dangerous drugs. So Nigeria must when Nigeria closed its borders to Benin Republic, the president ran down to Nigeria now. And we didn't listen to them for a very long time because we know that they are undermining our economy. In those days where fuel was very cheap around here, you go from Ota in Ogun State to Idiroko, the border line to Benin Republic. You see a number of filling stations, and all the petrol tankers meant for many parts of this country, including the north,
was diverted from
Black ferried to Benin Republic.
Some people even leave Lagos to Idiroko to
yes,
buy.
I lived there. I was born around that axis, so we know what is going on. They said there are things in bottles. They are there. The fuel was from Nigeria. So I don't know the situation now. I sincerely hope that the hike in our prices of petroleum products now has really taught them a very huge lesson. They open up Nigeria to a number of abuse. So I want to suggest that while Nigeria is pursuing integration, she should not forget the security, safety of its people and her economy.
Okay. So let's open our telephone line at this point for our viewers to start calling in to make the program interactive, engaging, incisive, as well as conversational. It's going to be conversational because we expect you to call in. The telephone number is right there on your screen right about now. Please start calling in our esteemed viewers who are also our vibrant callers. It is your show because Kaftan TV realized the need for Nigerians to have a platform that they can call their own, where they can always call in under one roof to verbalize their thoughts, to cross-fertilize ideas, and talk and ventilate their feelings with regards to programs, projects, and policies of government that are intended to make life better and dignifying for all of them, for all Nigerians. And we are here discussing Ecowas at 50. We are taking a look at successes, challenges, and way forward. Segun, let me remain with you briefly before I come to, you've mentioned the success story of ECOWAS, and then we dovetailed into the challenges. And one of the challenges, in addition to what you said, one of the idealism concept of ECOWAS is for member countries, for ECOWAS to encourage a capitalist economy, liberalized institutions, actionable and working fiscal policies, in addition to the borderless regions, because they are all contiguous. And we talked about, with the promotion of all these concepts put together holistically, we saw the exit of other countries that has depleted the membership of the Francophone countries that exited, that has depleted the membership of ECOWAS. How devastating would you say that has been in the last couple of years after the exit of these countries? Economically, politically, in terms of regional integration.
There is no way that a family will lose any of its members, and then the father will say that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, of course it does. It does. But in terms of its implication on ECOWAS, I don't think it's much. It is the implication on the countries that pulled out that is more. You see, it is better to have a recalcitrant child still in the house than to allow him to run loose outside.
Or a deviant.
Or a deviant. It's usually not easy, because there are a number of packages under ECOWAS that nations like Burkina Faso, nations like Ivory Coast have benefited in the past from ECOWAS. I have been to Ouagadougou for weeks to cover election, and I know what ECOWAS did for them, and I know what I saw in Ouagadougou, the capital, and some of their regions when we went for that election. They still have forests to clear in terms of development. The airport is just a stone throw to where our hotel was, right there beside the road. ECOWAS would have been able to learn much from some of the activities, support, training, and advice from other West African countries. Their grounds with ECOWAS is there has been too much talk in ECOWAS. I agree. ECOWAS has for long been talking. Conferences, seminars, protocols here and there, without effective implementation. You mentioned something about the integration of trade and their fiscal policies. This issue of ECOWAS common currency has been on the drawing board for how long?
The ECO.
The ECO. And what has been, we attended a number of conferences, seminars, workshops, international fora, with all these heads of state meeting on nothing at the end of the day. And you cannot remove that from the situation of member countries. Here are nations that are still battling with systemic challenges, existential problems. Many of them, we know how many Nigeria paid their workers' salaries. We know how many Nigerians send a TAC team, a technical aid squad to assist them in various. So when the nations, the member states, are not stable, it weakens ECOWAS. That is why they are not able to follow through with some of their policies. And then do not forget the influence of colonial masters. For instance, countries that have francophone, for instance, and then you say you want to have a common currency. How do you deal with France, for instance? How do you deal with France when you are talking about that? So it was a huge problem that ECOWAS was not able to navigate. The common currency has been on the drawing board. It will have been very nice if we are able to have a common currency. It will have the founding fathers. They have very great ideas, just like they have in Europe.
It's just to follow through.
It's just to follow through.
Successors.
But the problem is why their economy is not so strong to be able to take that kind of bold step. The influence of their colonial masters, many of them are still tied to the apron strings of their colonial masters, except of recent, where they talk about what Traoré is doing or what the military president in Cote d'Ivoire is also trying to do in Ivory Coast and Niger. We do not know the current situation now, but the fact remains that over the years, the influence of their colonial masters have been a major stumbling block. I will advocate that countries that have pulled out should come back.
Okay.
In the interest of their people, not the leaders.
Beautiful. I like that. You have led me to ask Pastor Praise this question. There is one of the factors of being strong, is in number. The number of ECOWAS membership is a source of strength. We have seen a depletion because of the exit of these countries. Let's use the story of the prodigal child. You are a pastor, as a corollary, to paint a picture. And now, the prodigal child, the father didn't talk to him to come back. The siblings didn't talk to him to come back. Nobody told him. It was him that did a retrospection, and then mirrored up himself and saw the need for him to go back to his father and ask for forgiveness. Do you foresee seeing these countries mirroring themselves up and telling themselves that, hey, we are better together, and then anytime soon they'll come back with the way their leaders are going?
Thank you, Macauley. My candid reflection on these matters arising within the ECOWAS sub-region is very, very simple. I will make my own opinion. I will throw in my own light on this matter. Why? Because if, for instance, the amalgamation of these neighboring countries to form a formidable front were able to subdue the colonial antecedents. Look at Cameroon. I've interviewed some of the people from Cameroon running for coverage in Nigeria here, and their story is not good enough, sir. Cameroon is backwards, sir.
Yeah,
they don't have a central bank of their own. Now, a people that do not even have their own currency or strength of their currency, and you are talking about the benefit of the region. If the region was a voice enough to interface with those colonial masters who are taking advantage or undue advantage for that matter. So it was like colonialism has passed, but the spirit of the colonialism, the economic backwardness, the intimidation, and what have you, is still being perpetrated. So based on that factor, if I was in the shoe of Ibrahim Traoré, I would do the same thing. We know what he's doing in that place now. He's building some even 4- or 5-story buildings, free accommodation for dying citizens, economic sequestered, evil life citizens, free education from primary to university, and still giving bursary for students. And look at the dividends demand. So if the sub-region is that powerful to build up their own citizens, and then you now extend the love to your neighbors, that is the purpose of the synergy in the first place. Like my friend said, as we speak, ECOWAS is, retrogressive when it comes to sponsorship. So, and they don't have possibly what I call industrialized system of generating funds for themselves to power their programs, because, okay, some of us have attended some of their sub-regional conferences and things like that. Like he said, all of them always end in policy making. The actualization has not been there. So the member states are backward underdeveloped and still afraid of their intimidators called colonial masters. So if you are extricating yourself to develop your people and develop your country, to me, not as a sub-region, to me as a person, I endorse it, sir. And should they have a good successor? For instance, if Traoré, leaves power tomorrow, does he have someone that will sustain that same spirit of this human face into your people's crisis?
Exactly.
If they have a continuity, sir, what will ever the prodigal son left with that blessing? Let's bring it from the spirit where you brought it from.
Exactly.
He left the father's house out of greed. But these people now, the very one we are very familiar with of his what is the progress reports. Who is Traoré? Traoré is rather even stopping anything international aid, country is country.
Exactly.
It is even people like Putin.
He's looking inwards.
Yes, Putin is already coming and befriending him, inviting him, and so if I don't present myself as I'm capable, sir, you will not be, interested in my person because you already have a lot of burden on your shoulders. So it's not like you are looking for where to waste your energies and instead of you blessing your people. So Traoré is doing in fact, is making me happy that a voice in Africa is coming up that way. Sir, do you know that Nigeria is 100 times bigger and more richer than Burkina Faso?
Lagos is
it's leadership factor. So
Lagos
if I can't govern myself and you are promising me protection and I should not fight for myself, sir, you are not my friend. You don't love me. You don't have the right spirit. So that's just my own opinion.
Okay, please let me weigh in here. With due apologies, Pastor. Many of those things that you are reading and watching about Traoré are fake.
They are AI generated.
They are AI generated.
Please talk to me. I like to learn. That's me.
The smart Alex that is behind that all those stories
those
that
hypes.
you are reading. Yes.
Let me use your terms now.
Yes, those hypes.
Yes.
Are based there in Nigeria. Some of them are in Ghana. I can even send you some of
their links.
Yes, fact check them. They are liars. In fact, that high-rise building that you see that is being built.
Yes.
In Burkina Faso, they say these free
infrastructures and
they copied it from Europe. I think from France. The houses being built in France, the same color replica. It's AI generated. I'm not saying Traoré is not trying, but all those things that you watch.
Because I was actually thinking a military junta.
No, it's not.
Who develop a people within.
No. They are hyping, they are hyping the military government in Burkina Faso. And yes, in Burkina Faso, they are hyping
before Niger and Mali them.
Yes, so that the rest of youths.
I think it's comparative subterfuge.
Yes, the rest of youths in Africa will say, military is better than yes, but it's fake. Some of them have been arrested and their sites pulled down. So,
even though his efforts are being recognized globally, R. Kelly, we all know him. He is award-winning musician, languaging in jail. But from jail, he sang a song. He released a song, in support of Traoré. Even shortly after that,
you never can tell how far the AI generated story has traveled, especially for somebody that is in incarceration. I'm not saying Traoré is not doing something there, but it is very, very hard. Anyway, now that you have told me,
yes,
I will use some of my contacts. I can fact check, but at the same time,
you have a reliable source.
I have, yes. I will contact them, but I don't know what Traoré is doing. But about those things that we see, I used to believe them, but I was telling myself that it can't be true. That country is poorer.
It's very poor.
Very poor.
That to perform such a magic, I call it magic.
Suddenly, in such a short time.
How will Traoré ensure that free education from primary to university is not possible?
It's not possible.
It's not possible. But I'm not saying. Don't let me say it's not possible.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes.
Today, Ecowas is 50. We are winding down on this conversation before we move to the next topic.
Okay.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is already on ground. He is the chairman of the Ecowas heads of our government. What are your expectations in today's meeting? What would you want them to talk about?
Wow. Number one should be on security of the sub-region. Like my friend also mentioned, if you have border governance, proper border checkmating, border surveillance for your country, Nigeria, for instance, and we see the buoyancy of reduced crime, reduce kidnapping and all this militia coming in, then if I am making a speech that you, Benin Republic, I can come in, like I don't know, you may say I'm a fan of OBJ, but when OBJ was there, when he said it, he's doing it. So if I have it, I am taking, they say charity begins at home. I study your family, how you are helping them. Then you come around and say, I have something for you. I will be expectant. So our president is there as the chairman, the chief host. So we should talk about this border surveillance to reduce crime in our country, number one. And then we'll be able to, by way of extrapolation, help other neighboring beneficiary countries that this thing also, the epidemic is also affecting. That's number one. Then this underdevelopment we are talking about, look at the economic situation in Nigeria. Even our naira, our currency is not strong. It's diving every day. What fiscal policies are we making and the implementation to steady the effect of the nosediving of our GDP and our our naira going down? That's number one, because we are talking about economic. You understand? It's the economy of the people that we are talking about.
Yeah.
So my welfare as a Nigerian should be considered. Then most of these Nigerians that they normally bring in for electoral program, and then you give them 1,000 to 2,000, and then after the election, they now become mayhem, they now become threats. So, and look at, even in my place here, you will see minimum of 20 of them passing every morning in groups, 20, 15, 20, 15. If you look at them, these are not Nigerians. From Chad, from Niger, if we are going to play a good host to our brothers, then we should build a refugee camp for them. When they come into the country without security, proper checks, and you see them, take them to that refugee camp for educational purpose, medical help, and feeding. And then possibly you develop them into carpentry, all these artisans. You develop them into something, into trade, to foster the economy of the West African region. That should be my take for now.
Okay, Segun?
I will suggest that ECOWAS leaders should stop talking. I think they've talked enough.
They've talked enough.
It's now time to act. I think all the necessary protocols are already on ground and well developed. They should begin implementation. To begin implementation, they need the will to implement, the political will to implement. They know the problems and the challenges that have been hindering their notable policies, like the free movement, like the common currency, and then the problem of political development in the sub-region, and delivering the dividends of democracy to their people. They know all these things, but you see, they need the will. They need the will, and they need the commitments to ECOWAS. You can't belong to an association and you are not paying the... You are not committed. You are not committed financially. You are not paying the dues. So nations of the countries of ECOWAS must learn the real reason why ECOWAS was... They should not forget that the founding fathers of ECOWAS, they had very good intentions. And that this is a body that has stood for 50 years. I think what President Tinubu is doing now is to ensure that the house does not collapse on his head. I'm sure he's committing huge resources to whatever is going on now. Other ECOWAS members too should wake up and assist so that this body, this august body, this very important body does not die.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you so very much. You will remain with me in the studio because we are going to take a short break. And when we return, we're going to shift gears to 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. As you know, we celebrate tomorrow, 29th day of May 2025. That'll be after this short breather. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is the Polity reaching you live from the Abuja studio of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, commonly referred to as Kaftan TV, where all the people here imagine a beautiful world. We're waiting to see when that beautiful world is going to be. I bet God in the beginning created a beautiful world. That's what the scripture told us. That's what we keep imagining here at Kaftan TV. Today is eve of the D-Day. The D-Day is 29th day of May 2025, and that is tomorrow. The current leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be exactly 2 years after taking the mantle of leadership on the 29th day of May 2023. So we are going to take a look at the gains, the pains, resilience, and amidst alignments, political alignments, and things like that. Still with me in the studio, I remain Macauley Hunohashi. Still with me in the studio is Segun Ojelade and Pastor SamPraise. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in Lagos to commemorate 50 years of the existence of Ecowas, the regional body. While in Lagos, we are told by the spokesman of the presidential spokesman, Bayo Onanuga, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to commission some projects. That is on May 31st, Saturday. That's Saturday, 31st of May, 2025. He's going to inaugurate some projects by, provided by his administration. Among them are Section 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the very, very controversial coastal highway that is costing the nation about 16 trillion naira. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to commission Section 1 of the highway. And then the Lekki Deep Sea Port Tax Credit concrete road is going to be commissioned. The flag off of Section 2 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and the 7th Axial Road is also slated for commissioning. He's going to observe the Eid prayer on Friday as well, while in Lagos. And we're also told that the current minister of the Federal Capital Territory has slated 19 projects to be commissioned that will, to commemorate 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, even though the minister will be 2 years only in August. That will be in 2 months' time. But to commemorate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's pragmatic leadership, according to them, 19 projects have been slated for commissioning. Federal Ministry of Works, under the leadership of Dev Nweze Umahi, they have also slated about 19 projects which will also be commissioned. So we are talking about commission of projects and projects and projects to celebrate 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Segun Ojelade, let me start with you. You have covered politics in the past, and you are older than Nigeria. Well, as old as Nigeria.
That's true.
No, are you older than Nigeria? You're older than Nigeria. With 1 year. Is it
Yes.
He's 55.
Yeah. So now, Segun, 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, that's half of half of the journey into the first term of 4 years. How would you assess the journey so far in terms of development? That's what we're focusing on.
Wow.
Why did you wow yourself?
Because it's been remarkable.
It's been remarkable. Okay.
Yeah.
I just talked about 19 projects.
No, it's been
not
remarkable.
Okay.
It's been politics aside. In 2 years, the government has really tried. Those that are vilifying President Bola Tinubu are doing it for politics. Many of them would not have performed as much as he has done, especially in providing infrastructure. Look at that highway that we're talking about. It's revolutionary. It's a revolution when you talk about motoring. Transversing states, knocking down barriers, even in areas that you thought was impossible to navigate. And then under 2 years, we have a section to commission. I mean, look at the other day, it was even this morning, I was reading what the Minister of Interior is doing with our passports. 28 years backlog of passport issuance cleared, and then a huge amount of debts owed by the Nigerian Immigration Service, about I don't know, maybe 28 billion cleared, paid, you know. And again, go to road provision of road infrastructure, especially in the southeast. That is why you can have some reasonable voices, even from the southeast, commending the administration, because they remember their recent experiences on the highway. No, nobody is saying that the problem has been totally obliterated. Nobody is saying that. But the administration has really moved in knocking down some of these nagging problems that we had in terms of infrastructure. You know, maybe it costs, yes, not even maybe. Electricity costs more now. And it is impinging very seriously on the pockets of many. But have we achieved a little element of increase in service? I think so. We were around in this country about 8-9 years ago. We saw what was happening. Again, where we can say yes, there is hunger in the land. And I am telling you, I am one of the beneficiaries of the hunger in the land.
Okay.
Very many of us are. You know, we know things are very, very hard. And the administration must listen to Nigerians in this area. No doubt about that. Nobody can excuse them for that, because of the situation that we find ourselves in terms of cost of food and the money in the pockets of individual. It has to be, it must be so. It has to be so. Because of the policies of the administration, especially in the removal of subsidy, and without adequate preparations for palliatives.
Okay.
Just today, I was reading about the son of a very former high-ranking politician, whose son, along with others, were jailed just about maybe yesterday, or day before yesterday, for their sharp practices under the subsidy regime. They lied that they brought in petroleum products from abroad, whereas nothing was brought, and they collected about 1 billion. That was the scam in the subsidy regime. Only these ones have been caught. There are more high-ranking individuals that benefited from that. That with just one statement of Mr. President 2 years ago, subsidy, the scam called subsidy, was stopped. And we're all beneficiaries of it today, because all this money that were hitherto going into dubious people's pockets are now being used to do some of these things. I stand to be corrected.
Okay.
Maybe the loot was again looted. I don't know.
You don't know.
But I think we are better off with some of the projects that we're seeing.
SamPraise,
my dear,
your assessment.
Yes.
Do you agree with him?
I agree with him, and especially the way he rounded his statements. I fell in love with that because there must be a balance. I, for one, within, if you are coming from Banex to Nikon Junction,
yes,
that flyover being constructed, the speed at which they are finishing it is impressive and is commendable. And if you drive around Abuja, you see, very beautiful flyovers and things being done. You will know that, like he mentioned, work is sweet. Because you see, this is my country. You drive around and see these things, you are happy. Yes. You can see the future of brightness, the future of joy and progress coming. But then, if to say he has the capacity to bring a balance, as you are developing, the people are getting better. As you are developing, the people are getting better. Job opportunities within the first 12 calendar months. Then this, we are talking about tidying up the second year of his administration. So again, of most commendable site is the one he just mentioned now, the coastal highway, linking Lagos to Calabar.
Yes.
Is going to boost tourism. Is going to boost the blue economy program.
You know there's Lagos Badagry and Lagos Benin highway, super highway.
Yes.
And there's Lagos Sokoto super highway.
Yes.
All being under construction.
Under construction.
Yes. And there's Abuja Kaduna Kano highway. And there's dualization of Jos Bauchi Gombe.
Bauchi road is
Yola,
deadly.
Mubi Meduguri road.
Yes.
And that is massive.
That is massive.
Which has never been contemplated by anybody.
Yes.
But couldn't have been conceived. So if this is going on, and then there's nothing wrong, I always say it, listen to, Nigeria is rich. And if we want to do a thing, we can do it. One of these projects he is embarking on, the money he's spending on it is also, it can be used to tackle, because as you remove subsidy, that is stopping those that are, the Oliver Twist, who are feasting on our blood. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
You have stopped them. And now, if you remember the Fabio statement in the house one day, he said you will see a lot from the clerk of the house. He says part of the dividends of that subsidy removal. You can take it and go for your holidays. So you are sharing the formula among the high, while the poor are getting poorer and being stimulated with your tax reforms. So those are the imbalances we are noticing, and is adding real quagmire. And even criminality is being increased on the average Nigerian. We are afraid of even your phone. Anything. People are removing burglary from your house while you are sleeping. Yes. I don't know whether they're even gone spiritual.
Do you know one aspect that...
theft of cars.
One aspect in the road construction that impresses me is the innovation brought in by the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi.
Yes.
Where he brought in continuous reinforced concrete technology that would last 50 years. It's a road project that outlives generations.
Yes.
It's a departure
like the
from
previous one we've been seeing.
The asphaltic, format. It's a departure from that time. And that is the technology the man brought to the federal level.
I think we kudos again should go to Dangote.
Yeah, Dangote.
Is the one that actually pioneered that. Some of the roads he constructed, in some of his road construction projects, as a part of his corporate social responsibilities, and then the use of the tax. There's an arrangement, use of some of the tax to do some of those roads. So it's a very wonderful initiative. Go to the Okene-Obajana road. It's constructed with and it's still standing solid.
And the Lagos Calabar Highway is the same technology.
Yes. Wow.
Reinforced concrete.
So we should continue to borrow or learn from technological advancement in today's world. We cannot be living in our villages and then be complaining that we are backward. Now, there's one thing I want to say. Yes, it is true that unemployment is very high in this country, no doubt about it. But you see, if you ask the administration, they will be able to tell you how many Nigerian youths have been trained. It's not only the administration. There are a number of corporate organizations, states, individuals that are involved in empowerment initiative. I am not talking of packaging rice and beans and handing it over to people. That's not empowerment. And that is what many people are getting, and they still cannot get out of poverty. If you continue to receive handouts, there is no way
you can't beat poverty.
You can't beat poverty because that rice will finish,
of course,
and then you'll be back to square one again. So what I am saying is that there is no way that in Nigeria today or in the world today that you can have nothing doing, and then you want to beat poverty. See, it is practically impossible for government, no matter how benevolent and rich, to feed everybody, taking food to their houses, establishing food centers where you are going to get food. It can never bring people out of poverty.
Okay.
Yes, it can ameliorate the sufferings, no doubt, but the people too must help themselves. Every one of us, especially youths, must look for avenues to find something doing.
Okay.
Now, you talk about jobs, creating jobs.
Job creation.
Go and look at government salary bills already. Go and look at it across. There are even states that have not been able to pay the 70,000. Can't you look for something, develop yourself, and try, no matter what, try from somewhere. Listen to the stories of people that have made it today. They didn't just sit there. Of course, maybe at some point or the other they got some assistance, but you yourself, you must hold yourself by the bootstrap.
Okay. Pastor, we have applauded government,
especially up, I don't quite.
In the process. We are winding down. We have applauded government, particularly its intervention in provision of infrastructure. But one aspect of life that remain a huge challenge is insecurity, in spite of resources being deployed and equipment to fight insecurity. It has remained a huge challenge, right?
Yes. Let me, buttress that point. You know why? Because when you make a statement that affects me directly, at least I'm an authority in that area. To add to what he just said, when he rounded up, he said he challenged the youth to do something. Some of us have been doing something. And then this last question he asked now is none our own doing. For instance, I and a friend, we came into a collabo, got a land in Buhari here, 10 hectares to be precise. I planted, I'm saying what I did. I didn't read it in paper. I planted 3 hectares of corn. I hired labor. I spent so much. I didn't harvest one because of insecurity. I brought in 2,000 stems of plantain from Benin. The cost of transporting those goods from Benin because of bad road to Abuja alone is close to 600,000 just to bring those things. Then as we speak, the video is in my phone. I was there on Thursday, this last week. Sir, if they tell you that this was the same farm that plantain was growing up due for production this very year, by now it would have been none. You can't trace one plantain in that 10 hectares.
What happened?
Fulanis, you will see them as you are there. They will be entering with their cows. They are not even afraid of you. They have AK-47. These are things I saw with my eyes. I'm not telling you what somebody told me. I'm telling you. So if, for instance, we got that money from a bank loan, do you know that as I'm sitting here, I would have been in prison?
Yes.
Because how many of the bankers?
Or in the hospital.
Yes. Assuming I'm not even reading my Bible, sir, which is like my own source. honestly speaking, I've already tailored how many youth I'm going to employ per month. We planted 200 coconut, 500 banana, 2,000 plantain, and this corn I'm talking about. We hire grader who graded. We're actually thinking about the fencing, which we are estimated at 70 million to fence that space. But the issue is this now. When you are bringing in infrastructure, like you are bringing materials, before tomorrow, nothing is on site again. So we are helpless.
Segun, your views on that?
We are helpless.
Insecurity. I can see how sad you are.
It's very sad.
And
honestly, these are tales. Very many Nigerians have similar tales of woes that they have to tell. His own is on a very large scale.
Yeah.
There are smallholder farmers struggling, subsistence farmers that rely on the farm every year
from hand to mouth
for survival. It's very sad.
They butcher the plantain, uproot it, throw for the cow, just like that.
Is another area
Ministers
where
of poverty,
where government needs to actually do something.
Very important, because
and they will tell you that these headers, many of them are non-Nigerians.
They are not. It's a lie.
So
some of them.
Let me, Segun, I think I should come in here.
You have a call there.
We have somebody called Bello Turiji. Bello Turiji has never claimed any nationality. He has never claimed any country. He's a Nigerian, and he's a kingpin of banditry. You know, we are driven by two things in this country: sentiments and emotions.
Yes.
So as you are talking now, someone is watching your TV and he's angry, and he will stigmatize you as someone who is ethnic profiling. You hate the Fulanis. But that is why, if you don't call a spade by its name, you will be playing the ostrich. You have buried your head thinking you have buried your entire body. When Boko Haram started in Maiduguri, that was how it was treated with kid gloves.
Yes.
We keep saying, no, it's just skirmish. It's just a skirmish. So a demographic felt it's only a section of the country that was being targeted. So they kept quiet. We are rounding up. They kept quiet. So until it snowballed and consumed everybody.
What is happening now?
That's exactly with the case of insecurity. In Benue, a chief man will tell you that these marauders are Fulanis. Somebody will come with political coloration and say, no, they are bandits that are being sponsored by Otom. Somebody will tell you they are bandits sponsored by, they have talks sponsored by the governor. You just keep politicizing it, and you shy away from saying the truth, calling a spade a spade. Okay, what about the people, the cattle rearers in the FCT? Have you ever taken a look at them? Are they foreigners? They are not. They are Nigerians. You just drive around the Federal Capital Territory and see those small kids wearing cat. They are Nigerians.
Yesterday,
they are not foreigners.
I saw them, and their cows were dropping cow dungs.
Cow dungs everywhere. It doesn't make sense.
Paved roads.
Yes. So, if you don't say the truth, I'm a northerner. I'm from Adamawa State. We have to face ourselves and tell ourselves the blunt truth. Is it right to rear cattle in the Federal Capital Territory? The answer is no. No. So you just have to say the truth. But if you say it, somebody will just take it personal and stigmatize you as a hater of a particular tribe. No. We just we want a good country, a functional country. We should have one functional city called our Federal Capital City that is clean, that is accommodated, there's a pride for everybody. After all, it was designed after Canberra in Australia. But we still cannot have the master plan tailored after Canberra properly. So it is a no-no. Segun, your final word, please.
Yes. This insecurity has really deflated me. Honestly.
You're really short of words.
Yes. Because if some people start destroying our farms, destroy our livelihood, destroy our investments, there is something they are targeting. They are targeting our lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's very true. That's very true. And because if we don't, like I keep saying, government owes us a responsibility in this area. Why? Because the agriculture that we are talking about is the provision of food that we are buying. Not everybody can import rice, import gari, import yam in our own country.
Okay.
Government need to step into there.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Segun, thank you for coming to the Polity.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your presence here.
We thank God.
Well,
thank God.
I agree with both of them. Government has to come in. Benue State, is known from time immemorial as food basket of the nation. Today, farmers don't go to farm because of insecurity. Marauders come and hack them and maim them, burn down communities, and render all the farmers and members of the community homeless, internally displacing them within their own community in their own country. SamPraise is here. He's a living example of a patriotic Nigerian who wants to eke out a living for himself by going into the farm to employ labor, create jobs, and then add value on society by providing food. But today, he has been taken back to square zero because of insecurity. Government has to come in. That's the size of our package this afternoon. I remain yours truly, Macauley Hunohashi, saying thank you for being there, thanks for watching, and thanks for trying to call in. The telephone lines have not been helpful because of the service provider, their misbehavior, which I keep talking about here, and the authorities that are supposed to be regulatory bodies are not doing anything by dropping the sledgehammer on them. On behalf of our producers and the entire crew that made the program possible, thanks for watching. See you next time.